Asking questions is material to establishing frame in a debate, and more so it is essential in trying to get to understand the opposition and pointing out flaws in their argumentation. What kind of questions should be asked is a detailed and relative issue. It is dependent on the topic of the debate at hand, what kinds of questions would be optimal to ask. But there are some general forms or format of questioning that apply in most debates and arguments, in that they can be useful in trying to display the incompetence of the opposition.
Can you do me a favor, restate my question for me, just so I can reassure that you're actually operating in good faith. What was my question?
Just repeat what.
Okay, can you restate my question for me again, please?
I have like a bad memory.
Dude, like, this is insane. Like, you have to be extremely bad faith, or you actually are like have Alzheimer's or something. There's no way you're real. The CTMU doesn't make any sense, or it's incoherent, and he's debunked them on those claims. They're making the affirmative claims that the CTMU is incoherent and it doesn't make sense. Let me ask you this: why is it the case that these academics believe? Why is it the case that these academics believe that the CTMU is incoherent if there are people that believe in the CTMU?
Because we don't go by the minority, we go by the majority consensus.
How does that answer my question?
That answers your
question. Okay, what was my question once again?
No, there can always be a few people that will like agree with a certain thing. Does not make it.
No. It's not relevant to the question. What is my question again, please?
No, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting.
Okay, so like this is the third time that I've asked you a question and you've answered it, and when I asked you to restate the question for me, you didn't even have any clue what the question was. Wait, can you restate my question? I'm just wondering if you actually even listened to the question. Can you restate my question for me?
Honestly, at this point, no.
Yeah, so you don't even know the question. Yeah.
If the opponent can't answer it correctly or concedes, it makes them look inattentive, clumsy, unconfident, and most importantly, incompetent, which is a huge benefit in a debate. Number 2, eliminating weasel words. Often in debates, when people assume a stance but don't want to defend it because they are not certain, they use a lot of weasel words. For instance, it seems like X is the case, or it feels like X is the case. It is essential to not accept their framing of their position in terms of defensible weasel words while they maintain a monopoly on questioning yours. So always ask, does it seem that way, or is it that way? Because if it just seems that way, it entails the possibility that it is not that way. And we're not concerned with what X seems to be. We are concerned with what it is. Another common red herring is, I am not convinced. I remain unconvinced. One person who does this quite often in debates and has gotten away with it for the most part is Matt Dillahunty. Note that Matt always defers to a notion of being unconvinced as a knock on whatever piece of evidence is presented in the debate, for the most part. The line of questioning needed is to demonstrate how one being convinced is irrelevant to the matter of the truth value of the proposition which is in question in a debate, or how you can demonstrate that being unconvinced of a proposition determines whether the proposition is true or false. Number 3, rhetorical questions. Rhetorical questions are an excellent device in debates because they are packed with a belief you hold and packaged as a question that seeks to point out the absurdity in rejecting it. Rhetorical questions are good in informal exchanges that are focused on one given point. They typically don't work well in formal debates because the object of the question becomes the opposing point you're attacking, not the opposing debater, which makes it less effective. Number 4, questions of epistemology. How do you know is a very powerful question, yet often misplaced. Typically, when having conversations in philosophy, people become confident in making assertions that can be flatly disassembled once a question of knowledge is asked. It works in most situations and topics, though, again, delivery and emphasis are important. And as referenced in the first installment, making a statement through your questions and after them is incredibly important. In my debates, when I can tell that a question that I asked is not being answered, I address the response, point out how the opponent won't be able to answer my question based on the response, and then ask it again. This only leaves the opponent with 2 choices, really. Answer the question the same again, being subsumed by my framing that they weren't able to answer it, or answer it differently and leave room for more questioning about their new response. Either way, I'm on the offense and winning.